Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different.
Now, as anyone who's seen our earlier videos knows, we've got our little 1/18 crawlers. And we really wanted to set out to make these look as scale as we could. Now, the problem is that everything out there that you can buy as scale accessories is for 1/10. As soon as you start looking for 1/18, it gets very thin on the ground. So you have to get extremely creative. But never fear, because we're going to show you how you can make your 1/18 look as good as these. So as you saw, we've got roof racks on there, and they were 3D printed because you're not going to be able to buy anything to fit. But how do you get a cargo net to keep everything in place? Well, you can buy one. As we said, they're designed for 1/10 scale, so that isn't going to work. So we got this 1mm elastic, and I made the cargo net. So I basically stretched it around the outside of the roof rack, and then I crossed pieces across and knotted it as I went. Bit faffy, bit fiddly, but it actually ends up looking great. However, it's all well and good having roof racks and having a cargo net, but what are you actually going to put in your little roof rack?
Well, the first thing that you need to do is look in your toy box or anything, or like a charity shop or a car boot, and look for small things in like toys or things that you might want to put on your roof, and you can detail them and paint them and make them look like this. And you can also have like a backpack that we painted and detailed, and this is just like 3D printed ones that were mass produced that you can make look really nice.
Of course, if you can't find the toy ones, you can always get a friend to 3D print you some stuff. Thank you, Kevin, for these. So he made us some little boxes and he weathered them and everything. So these came out really well. He also did us some little fuel tanks, and he did us a little water tank, little diesel tanks, and these have all been weathered as well. So these all look fantastic.
And it doesn't always have to be a toy or something. This is the lid off of a Tic Tac box, I think, and we just painted it and weathered it, and it looks really good as like a little box or something that you can just put in to fill up space. So that looks really good.
And then we also just raided the clothing section that we had. So this was just a piece of material actually off the waistband of an old ski jacket, believe it or not. So what we did was we just cut these into some little squares, and then once you fold this up, and then you just give it a little fold like that, it's nice and lightweight, and it looks like a tarpaulin. Now, all of these things, it's important to remember, it's worth mentioning this, is you're putting these on top of your car. So you don't want anything that is going to be heavy, because your centre of gravity will go to pot. So everything that we've got here is as light as possibly can be.
So next we have a little windbreaker. Now this is it's just a piece of material and toothpicks, but if you unroll it, it is actually a full windbreak that you can put somewhere, and it actually works. But you can also roll it up and put it on top of your car or roof rack, and it takes like 5 seconds to make. So that's cheap, and it's light as well.
And then, as you saw on the side of Luke's Fury, we made a little canvas canopy. That was actually made from a placemat. So we put that on the side. Now, if you've got a canopy, you might want to have fly sheets coming down. So this is actually the material off the back of that very same placemat. So we cut this. Again, it's very lightweight. Rolled it up, and this just looks like a fly sheet. And of course, if you've got a canopy, you're going to want to have some poles. So these are small skewers, wooden skewers that are painted black, dry brush with silver. So they look like the little poles to hold up the canopy.
Now these are some of my favourite things that we made, and are extremely easy and cheap, and it's really light. And these are little sandbags, and that we painted and weathered, but they are actually pieces of Lego that we just sanded off the top. There used to be little bumps here that you just sand off, and they look amazing, and you can stack these up wherever you want. But they are actually Lego, so they're extremely light. Our next thing, this is also really light, and another of our famous things. These are little bedrolls. They are extremely simple to make. It's just string attached with a bit of felt, and it's all rolled up into one little bedroll that you can attach onto anything you want.
And then of course you can't go out on the trail without your own little RC. So with these ones, we raided my old toy collection. So these date from probably the early 80s. These are micro machines. So we found this little buggy, which does look like a little remote control buggy. And then Luke was all excited to find this little Tonka Tiny, which looks like a little remote control basher. And if you see, he's even given that a bit of dry brushing to make it look weathered. So we figured you had to take those out on the trail. And you can't go camping without a tent. Now, we didn't want to get into too much detail and actually make a tent that you could put up. We just wanted something to look like it was a tent in a bag. So this material is actually the really fine webbing from one of those bags that you get when you're on an aeroplane. Do you remember going on aeroplanes when we used to fly to places? So this had toothbrushes in and flight socks and things like that. So we cut it up and we actually got enough material to make 3 of these. So it's basically a little bag. We got the mum of the Dad and Lad RC team to break out her sewing machine, and she knocked these up for us. And then inside it is just lumps of foam. So very light again, but it keeps the shape, so it just looks like a little tent in a bag. So once that's on the roof, it looks fantastic.
We think they look amazing, but wait until you see them out on the trail.